very small particles like things. They have a outer cover made up of the protein, and inside there is a nucleic acid. So very simple structure, and to cause infection, they have to infect a cell, host cell. So let us see what are our learning objectives today. The learning objectives of this lecture are: describe the mechanism of viral pathogenesis at the cell level and host level, and include the following. Number one, mode of transmission, how the virus transmits from one person to another person. Another is portal of entry, by which the virus enter inside the body to cause disease. And mechanism of pathogenesis, including cytopathogenesis, immunopathogenesis, persistence, and oncogenesis. For oncogenesis, there is a separate lecture, so that is why I will not cover oncogenesis in this lecture. Others we are going to discuss. So, how the virus produces disease inside the host? The virus, first of all, gain entry inside the human body by breaking the barriers of the surface structure, like mucosa, skin. They enter deeper into the cells, and then after they evade immune protection, immune defenses, and then they spread inside the body. And when they affect the cells, infect the cells, they cause damage to the cells, either directly or by triggering the host immune system, and which cause inflammation, and as a result of the inflammation, it cause damage to the human body. For example, the COVID-19, the coronavirus disease, it is a good example of this disease causation. First of all, this coronavirus enters into the respiratory system. If the immunity is good, host immunity, it will defeat it. Okay. But if the immunity is not good, then the virus enters inside the cells, cause damage, and stimulate host immune system to cause inflammation, which leads to pneumonia in the lung, and the person dies. So our first, as we can see, modes of transmission. So you must carefully look at this. So the viruses can enter by many ways. Either they may enter through the respiratory pathway, or through the oral pathway by eating or drinking contaminated food, or by direct contact with the infected person or the animal, or from the zoonosis. Zoonosis means the infection coming from the animals. And it can also be transmitted via blood transfusion. Some of them, they are transmitted sexually, and some of the viruses, they can transmit from mother to child during the pregnancy. So these are the modes of transmission, and we should also learn the examples. So the viruses which are transmitted through the respiratory route included influenza virus and COVID-19, and there are many others. Just for example, it is given here. Another one is fecal oral transmission. Some viruses, they are transmit through eating or drinking contaminated food. Classical example is rotavirus. Herpes simplex virus can be transmitted directly by direct contact. And example of the zoonotic virus is rabies virus. The viruses which can be transmitted by blood, the example is hepatitis B virus and HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. Many viruses, they are transmitted sexually. A classical example is papilloma virus. And some viruses can be transmitted from mother to developing fetus through placenta. Example is the rubella virus. So these are the main modes of viral transmission. Here you can see, this is some viruses, they are going through respiratory tract. Some, they can be blood and vector-borne, okay, urogenital, okay. Or this is a photograph just shown. You should focus on the table, okay. Then portal of entry of main viruses with example and disease they cause. So far we discussed the different modes, but your objectives also include portal of entry, and example of main diseases by main viruses. So here we are discussing some main viruses, how they enter. Hepatitis B virus, for example. First of all, in this slide, we are covering the DNA viruses, the main DNA viruses. Hepatitis B virus, it can enter the body either through the blood transfusion, it can also transmit by sexual activity, and it can also transmit through the vertical transmission. Vertical transmission means from mother to developing child. And the disease this virus causes hepatitis B. Okay, and the complication of hepatitis B results in liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. Another DNA virus, common virus, is herpes simplex virus, which is mainly transmitted by direct skin contact or the mucous membrane contact. And the disease it causes painful blisters on the skin, and it can also cause complications like encephalitis and meningitis. Another virus is cytomegalovirus, which can be transmitted through blood transfusion, through sexual activity, through the breast milk to the child, and the vertical transmission also. And it causes retinitis in immunocompromised people, okay, encephalitis and pneumonia. But all these problems, retinitis, encephalitis, pneumonia, it causes in the immunocompromised people only, because this is, you can say, opportunistic. And there is a long list, but we are not discussing only 3 DNA viruses we have given here. For other viruses, we will discuss in their respective blocks. If some virus cause respiratory infection, we will discuss in detail in the respiratory block. If some virus cause a gastrointestinal problem, we will discuss that in the GIT block. Here, what are the main RNA viruses? Let us see. Previous slide, we saw the DNA viruses. Now we are going to see the RNA viruses, how they enter and what disease they call. So first is the rhabdovirus, and this rhabdovirus is transmitted by bite of an infected dog, and it causes rabies. Another virus is polio. Polio virus is transmitted by eating contaminated food or drinking contaminated water, and it caused poliomyelitis. This disease is eradicated now from the world, only remaining in some countries, developing countries, like maybe Afghanistan and Pakistan. From all other countries, it is eradicated due to the vaccination program. Next virus is coronavirus. As you know, coronavirus, route of transmission or portal of entry is the respiratory route. It can cause upper respiratory infection as well as pneumonia also. Rotavirus infection, another virus, it is transmitted through the orophycal route, and it causes diarrhea. Next, dengue virus. It is transmitted by the bite of mosquito, and it causes viral hemorrhagic fever. So these are few RNA viruses we listed here. Otherwise, there is a long list. We will be discussing in the respective blocks with their respective diseases in other blocks. Only these much you have to look for, as an example here. So now we have to look at that what are the factors which play an important role in the viral pathogenesis. The factors which affect the viral pathogenesis include the susceptibility of the host or the person to the viruses, number 1. Number 2 is what the virus infection cause to the cell, means what is the effect of the infection, viral infection on the cells. That is known as cellular pathogenesis. Another factor is the course of infection, whether this is primary, where the virus replicate primarily, then systemic spread, then secondary replication, we have to see. Then cell tropism. Cell tropism we will discuss. Okay, all these points we are going to discuss in the different slides. Some viruses, they affect only cells of a certain organ system, and they affect that and cause disease there. And cell damage, how they cause damage to the cell, and host immune response also adds to the causation of the disease or the clearance. And sometimes the virus remains for a very long time inside the body. Okay, whether virus is going to remain inside the body or it is going to clear, that is known as clearance and persistence. We will look at each point separately. So first of all, susceptibility of a person to the viral infection. The susceptibility of a person and the severity of the disease to a viral infection depends on the following factors. Number one, the immune status, that how good the immunity of the person is, and the age of the patient, and the general health of the patient. If the health of the patient is good, the viral disease may be less severe. Another thing, viral load. Viral load means how many viruses they are going to cause infection. Number three, genetics of the virus, that how pathogenic the virus is. Fourth is exposure to the same virus previously in the life. That is. So, as such, you are not understanding these points. What are that? I would like to put the COVID-19 virus as an example here. You know that the coronavirus, when it causes infection, about more than 95% people, they do not suffer the serious infections, okay, or asymptomatic infection in 90% patients, almost. Why? Because their immunity is good, healthy people, okay, and age is here in the point. So which age group suffer severe coronavirus more commonly? The people who are advanced age, okay. So that is why the body immunity, the age, the general health is playing a role that how severe the coronavirus disease should be, will be, number one. Number two, viral load. Suppose you say that we are young, we are healthy, no problem. We can go anywhere. We will not suffer a serious disease, even if we suffer from the infection. But that is a mistake. In India and in America and in other countries, the doctors which are healthy, taking care of the corona patient, they suffer very, very severe disease with the corona. Why? Because of repeated entry of the virus inside the body. So the number of viruses which cause infection to these people who are exposed to the large number of the virus. So large number of virus together attacking a person will cause a severe disease. So here comes the importance of the mask, wearing the mask. If you wear the mask, go out, even if you are exposed to an infected person, the number of viruses which enter the body remain less. So if the less number of virus enter the body, the infection will be less severe. And if you do not wear the mask, and by chance if you are exposed to a infected person, in your nose directly all the viruses which are in the air will go inside the lung, and the number of viruses will be heavy. It will cause a serious disease. So two things you understood: the immunity of the patient, age of the patient, and the number of viruses. Then genetics of the virus. Genetics of the virus, see, there are so many coronaviruses before also. One was the MERS coronavirus, this is another coronavirus, and there are some common coronaviruses before this COVID-19, which did not cause any serious disease. Other coronaviruses, they cause only the upper respiratory infection. But this coronavirus, why it is causing serious disease, COVID-19? Because of this, its genetics. Its genetics is different, and it is more it is more able to cause serious infection. Okay, so these are the points which govern the susceptibility of a person and the severity of the disease. Another point is, what is the effect of viral infection on the cells? So different viruses, when they cause infection to the cells, there may be three outcomes. Three ways. Number one, no change. First thing, the virus either stops multiplying or become extinct, or the immunity clears and no change occur in the cell. This is one thing. Another effect is death of the cell, which is also, you can say, cytopathic effect. When the virus causes infection, death can occur. The third effect is very dramatic, transformation. Transformation means the cells become immortalized, means they do not die, they live longer after viral infection. So these are the three outcomes. Either there may be no change, or there may be death of the cell, or there may be the cell become changed and multiply rapidly and become long-lived. You can say this transformation. We will discuss these points, okay, in the next slide. Here you can see that how the virus is causing damage to the cell. First of all, you should know this. Why the virus cause death of the cell? The virus cause damage or death of the cell by the following mechanism. Number one, the virus stops the normal function of the cell. It takes the control of the cell and uses the cell mechanism for its own purpose. Number two, the viral messenger RNA and the cellular ribosomes, they start synthesize the cell ribosome, they synthesize only the viral proteins and they stops functioning for the cell. Another is the interferon defense mechanism. Okay, inhibition of the interferon defense mechanism may occur there, and the damage to the cell membrane can also occur during the viral infection. So all these factors together, they cause damage to the cell. And indirect cell damage can also occur by triggering the virus infection, trigger the host immunity, and the host immune cells come and they try to kill the virus and release the enzymes and other things there and cause local cell damage and inflammation there. So this inflammation as a result of immune reaction to the viral infection is the fact which can cause indirect cell damage. So these are the in tabulated manner I have given here the effects of viruses on the cells. Abortive infection, when there is no change on the cell. Abortive infection means the cell stops the multiplication of the virus. That is why there is no change. Another effect is cytolytic. Cytolytic means cell death. Here the viruses multiply rapidly and they cause the death. And there are two more effects, either persistent infection or transformation. Persistence means the virus is inside the cell, multiplying, remaining for a very long time and do not cause a significant effect on the cell. So persistence is of two types. One is productive persistence, another is latent. In productive persistence, the virus is multiplying within the cell, but at a very low level. In latent persistence, there is no multiplication of the viruses. In latent persistence, there is no effect on the cell, but in productive persistence, the cells become senescent, means they lose the power to divide and grow. So finally, the transformation, which is here, transformation given. In transformation, virus production is minimal. They may multiply, they may not multiply. That is different thing. But they cause immortalization of the cell. The cell become long-lived and it is the cause of the tumor formation or cancer formation due to the infection of some viruses. Here in this photograph, it is given that some viruses, when they affect the cell, either they can cause transformation where the cell become very long-lived and multiply actively and cause tumor formation. Another is the lytic infection, the virus affecting the cell and causing death of the cell. This is lytic infection of the lysis or death of the cell. Third is persistence. Either there may be latent infection or the persistence. Okay, slow multiplication. So that causes the long-lived infection inside the cell. So now the next point is how the virus multiply and cause infection inside the body. So here it is given. Let me before this slide, I will try to explain all these things on a photograph. See, when infection occurs, at the site of the infection, the virus multiplies. That is known as primary multiplication. And after multiplying at the local site, it enters the body either through the lymphatic or through the blood vessel. And third thing not given here, or through the nerves. Some viruses go through the nerves, and then after they are disseminated in the body and they multiply and they affect the target cells finally. The target cells may be the brain for some viruses, maybe for lung for some viruses, skin for some, like that, and they cause the disease there. So here you can see that there are three steps you can say. The primary replication at the site of the infection. For example, For example, measles virus. Measles virus cause infection all over the body, but it cause infection through the respiratory route. So the measles virus first multiply in the respiratory tissue. Then after second step is systemic spread. After multiplying in the respiratory tissue, the measles virus spills into the blood, and through the blood, it goes into the different organs, different cells throughout the body. Then comes the secondary replication. Secondary replication occurs in the susceptible organs, tissues following systemic spread, and then it causes disease. Okay. So here the transmission to the different organs may be by blood, maybe through the lymph, maybe by the neurons. This is an example for most of the common viruses, mostly arboviruses and other viruses. At the primary site of the infection, the virus multiplies and it goes to the local lymph node, multiplies and spills into the blood. So first time when in the blood it comes, it is known as primary viremia. After that, virus goes to the organs of the reticuloendothelial system like spleen, liver, bone marrow, and to the blood vessel endothelium, multiplies there in very large number. And after that, because here at the site of infection, it is very small area. So in primary viremia, number of viruses is very less. But in secondary multiplication, they are multiplying in multiple sites in very large number. So then after the second time they arrive in the blood, this is known as secondary viremia. A secondary viremia is very severe. And then after, when the virus is in the blood, it goes and affects the target tissues and cause infection there. Then what decides that a virus cause infection to the brain or to the liver or to other organ? That is decided by the tropism of the virus. What is tropism? Tropism means the hepatitis virus is there. Which organ it affects? It affects the liver. Why it is not affecting the brain? Because hepatitis virus has tropism for liver. But how this tropism is decided? This tropism is decided by the surface receptor on the virus and the surface molecule on the organ cell. So you can say that the receptor for the hepatitis B virus are present only on the liver cell. So this virus goes and binds to the liver cell only and cause infection there and cause hepatitis. Similarly, the meningitis causing viruses or the encephalitis causing viruses, which cause infection to the brain, their receptors are present in the brain cells. So the molecules on the viral surface and molecules on the brain cells, they interact and result in infection there. So that is why some viruses they cause meningitis on, especially. You understand? Some viruses cause the skin infection because their receptors are present only on the skin cells. Similarly, for coronavirus, why it is causing the lung infection? Because the receptors are present inside the respiratory tract. Tropism, that which cells or which organ the virus is going to affect, it depends on the surface receptors on the host cell and the surface molecules on the infecting virus. And also other characters of the cells, like whether the cell is helping or suitable for the multiplication of the virus or not. So the next point I will discuss after taking your attendance. I think all of you have typed your ID in the chat. So I will save the chat folder. Will take not much time. Al-Majid. Yes, so now the attendance is taken. 16 students are absent in Shakra. I am taking the names of the absent students. Please, if your name is there, please speak now. The students absent in Shakra are Ibrahim bin Muhammad bin Fahad Al-Horis, Abdulila Dakhilullah absent, Mutaib Khidran absent, Abdullah Hassan Al-Guvidi absent, Khalid Walid absent, Abdul Malik Hamad Al-Dail absent, Mashari Muhammad absent, Basam Malawi absent, Ibrahim Yusuf absent, Salman Nasir absent, Rakan Badar absent, Abdulila absent, Khalid bin Abdul Rahman absent, Hamad Fahad absent, Loe Muhammad absent, Sami Ali Nuezi absent. Anything to say about them? Okay. Now I come to Dawadmi. In Dawadmi, 21 students are absent. I am taking the names of the absent students. If they are present, please speak. Otherwise, you are marked absent. Abdullah Safar D. Al-Taibi absent. Nasir Naif absent. Hilal Muhammad. See, about 7 minutes are remaining. If the lecture is not over by then, if it is still going on, please log in again with the same ID then. Till then I will discuss because it's still 7-8 minutes. So how the cells damage occur by the virus? The viruses replicate throughout the body without any disease most of the time. And the symptoms depend on their ability to cause damage to the cell or the death of the cell. So some viruses like retroviruses, the retroviruses do not generally cause cell death, but being released from the cell by budding rather than by cell lysis and cause persistent infections. Okay. Some viruses they can cause damage to the cell, some cause persistent infection. Some viruses like coronavirus cause lysis and death of the cell in which they replicate. So mostly the viruses which multiply within the cell, either they kill them or they modify them, as we already discussed before. The viruses which cause damage to the cell, they change the morphology of the cell. That is known as cytopathic effect, you can say. So cytopathic effects or the damage to the cell occur by the inhibition of the or degradation of the cellular DNA, inhibition of the cell protein synthesis, alteration of the cell membrane, loss of permeability of the cell, and multiplication of the virus within the cell. These changes caused by viruses, they result in the cytopathic effect. So cytopathic effect, you can say, cytopathic effect is the damage caused by the virus to the cell. Here, I am going to show you two cytopathic effects. Here you can see, this is the cell culture. In the background, if you see the cells, these are the normal morphology of the cell line, cell culture, okay? So these are the normal cells, and then in the center, these are the infected cells by the virus. Similarly here, this is another virus, normal cells here, and the infected cells here, you can say. So one type of cytopathic effect is ballooning of the cell. Ballooning of cell means, you see the normal cells are they elongated, but here they are rounded. The round cells, rounding of the cell, it is known as ballooning. So ballooning of the cell. This is caused by HSV virus or herpes simplex virus. In this photograph, another the cytopathic effect is there, which is known as syncytia formation. In syncytia formation, what happens? Many infected cells, they fuse together and their cytoplasm mix, and in one cell there may be many nuclei. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 infected cells. They touch together and their cell membrane becomes one and makes a very large structure with multiple nuclei. This is known as syncytium. So here you can see syncytium formation. Can you see the outline of the cytoplasm? In here, individuals nucleus, dark nucleus, and a light cytoplasm spindle shaped is there around every nucleus. These are the normal cells, but here is the syncytium. Many nuclei surrounded within a single cytoplasmic mass. You can see my cursor is moving on this cytoplasmic mass. So this is syncytium. The syncytium formation is typical of the respiratory syncytial virus. Another cytopathic effect is formation of inclusion body. So here you see the inclusion body is within the nucleus, here in the cytoplasm. This is looks like owl's eye. So this is typical of cytomegalovirus. So in cytomegalovirus infection, the owl's eye inclusion body is seen, looking like owl's eye. And here this is typical of rabies virus. So rabies virus cause inclusion body within the nerve cell, and this is known as Negri body. So next point in the pathogenesis is host immune response against virus. Sometimes the virus does not cause too much damage to the host tissue, but it is the immune system of the body which cause damage. Example is hepatitis. In case of hepatitis, the virus multiplies in the liver and does not make too much damage. But after some time, the body immune system respond to it. And the body's cytotoxic T cells and antibodies, they go and try to attack the infected liver cells. So this inflammatory attack by the body's immune system to the infected cell, that cause damage to the liver cell and result in the hepatitis. So this is the host immune response against virus which cause pathology. Next point is viral clearance, whether the virus remain for short time or long time in the body, that is another thing. So here I think I should say persistence, that some viruses they remain for very long time inside the body. So this persistence of the virus, it remains, it may be of two types. Either there may be latent infection or persistent infection. In latent infection, the virus remains silent inside the body, does not multiply, and very late in the life, it may reactivate. The example of this latent infection is herpes simplex virus and varicella zoster virus. Another type of the very long infection inside the body by the virus is persistence. In this case, the virus does not, the virus continuously multiply, but at a very low level inside the cells. Examples are hepatitis B virus, HIV, cytomegalovirus, etc. So here you can see many types of the infections. This is acute infection, the virus cause infection, multiply inside the body and disappear. Another is some viruses, they cause acute infection, but they can cause also late complications, like in this case, the measles virus. This is typical example. The measles cause infection in the childhood, but in the late stages, after 20-30 years, it can also cause brain involvement, that is known as SSPE. And the third type is the latent infection, that the virus cause infection, but after some time, they become latent, and after many years when the body immunity become weak, they again reactivate and cause second time the disease. This is known as reactivation illness. Example is zoster. So that's all about the lecture, and the time also finishes here. So do you have any question?
No.